Hi, my name is Andrzej Kawalec and I head up Cybersecurity for Vodafone Business. Thank you for joining us for this discussion. At Vodafone Business, we pride ourselves on serving the small to mid-sized business community. We secure 20% of the world's internet traffic and harness insights from our 5 million customers to bring you the most relevant and most accessible advice and solutions. Along with our partners, we keep millions of organizations protected. And as part of Cyber Awareness Month, we've partnered with Lookout to spotlight the importance of people when it comes to cybersecurity. Now, not only are they your first line of defense, but they're also your biggest risk factor. Now, I'm hugely excited to introduce Jim Dolce, who's the CEO of Lookout. Now, Lookout, the world leader in protecting mobile work.
Yes.
Now, Jim, we've seen a real change in the security landscape, where actually the adversaries, the cyber criminals, are increasingly targeting people, like employees, the human layer. Are you seeing that through the mobile lens as well?
Yeah, for certain. So for many years, we focused on device protection. And device protection, it comes down to things like malware, software vulnerabilities, perhaps network intrusions through Wi-Fi. Recently, however, we've seen a move towards the more what we call the human factor. And the human factor is focused or targeted on the user themselves and trying to find some vulnerability in the user, usually through social engineering techniques. Now, we've all heard of things like phishing. Phishing is generally an email phenomena, where you may get an email that has a link and it's enticing you to click on that link. The objective is usually to steal your credentials. Recently, however, we're seeing a move in phishing in all of these social engineering techniques from email alone to what I call more multi-channel techniques. And that includes SMS phishing, or what is referred to as smishing. They can also include messaging services like WhatsApp or iMessage, iOS iMessage. And it even extends beyond that into even a new phenomena, which is called voice phishing or vishing.
Okay, so what we see is, and I guess the cyber criminals are recognizing this, that we have our entire world in our hands, and they're using that, as you say, as a multi-channel way of attacking and exploiting the people, the human in the layer.
Exactly.
Can you give us an idea about why is this particularly important for small businesses?
Well, it's not only particularly important for small business, it's a mobile phenomena, and small businesses usually focus more on mobile than they do on desktops or laptops, right? Small businesses are generally on the run, and they're doing business off of their mobile device or perhaps off of a tablet. What's different between your mobile device and a typical desktop or laptop? Well, number one, you keep both your personal life and your business life on that same device. That's not the case when you're in an office sitting at a desk in front of a terminal, in front of a desktop computer. So number one, it combines, the mobile device combines both your personal life and your corporate or business life. Number two, it's always connected. Right, it's connected 7/24, 365, very different than that laptop, which at the end of the day, you close it up and you put it in your bag, right? These phenomena of mobile, these are the things that the bad actors recognize. That you combine that with social engineering techniques, and this becomes a much easier target, or what we call a threat surface, for an attack than traditional email and traditional desktop computers.
Got it. So what we're saying is that to be truly mobile and work from anywhere and serve your customers, right, you need to be protected on that mobile device. And the thing that you look at last when you go to bed and the thing that you look at first when you wake up, you need that round-the-clock protection, and that's really important.
Correct, and I think there's a couple of parts to this. Certainly there are technologies available, and we can talk about that in a moment, that are there to protect you. But there's also a responsibility of the user itself. You have to be aware, you have to have knowledge, perhaps you have to have some type of training, right? We've all been trained over the years to recognize perhaps a risky email. right? A lot of times we get an email, we don't know who it's from, we go up and look at who sent it, we don't recognize the email address, and we've been conditioned perhaps not to click on that link. It's very different in mobile, particularly because we're always on the run, we're always active with mobile. You walk down the streets these days and you see people are crossing the street without looking at the traffic with their heads in their phone, likely just replying to a text without paying a lot of attention to who it came from and what the reply is. It's this quick, instant response that we have with our mobile device that we don't necessarily have when we're getting email on a desktop. So you have to be more aware. Don't be so quick to respond. Understand the context of the message that you're getting. And of course, then double that up with technologies. Technologies like the technology, mobile security technology, mobile endpoint security technologies with human factor security that you get from products like Lookout.
So, Jim, if we're always on and always distracted, which almost makes an impossible thing to secure, right, how does that show up in the real world? How are the attackers exploiting that always on, always distracted motion?
Well, first, let's understand what their objective is. Their objective is to steal your credentials, to steal or capture your username and password. This is what we refer to as the beginning or the start of the kill chain, right? And particularly if they're able to get your username and password, even from a personal message, you likely will use that same username and password in business, and they can take that and use it to break into your corporate network. And then they can do the real damage. And so the objective here, steal or capture credentials from the user. Now, many of these threats start with a personal question. You've probably seen the same messages that I've seen. Oftentimes we'll get a message from a delivery service. It says, I have a package for you. You have to click on this link and put your username and password in so that I can deliver the package. Another example which I often get is a company is soliciting or recruiting data entry personnel, and they are going to pay you $25 an hour. And all you have to do is to sign up is to give us a username and password. Parking meters as well. You haven't paid your parking fees. Give us your credit card, or we'll have to ticket your automobile. These are examples where they send you a personal message, and remember that mobile device is both personal and business use. So they'll send you a personal message in a way to solicit your credentials, which they will then use to break into your corporate network and do the real damage. That's what we call the beginning of the kill chain. The credential theft is the beginning of the kill chain, and then the kill chain proceeds on there, where ultimately they've broken into your corporate network and have been able to steal data from your corporate network.
Got it. And I think kill chain's a sort of a scary phrase. I know it originated in the military, but actually the cyber criminals use it. They're not trying to kill anybody, but they are trying to damage organizations. Exactly. And as we described, right, cyber criminals so often, they don't have to break in, they just have to log in. And I guess that's why they're targeting people, to get their login details to then get into an organization.
Exactly, and using this social engineering techniques and getting very personal in doing so to get you to feel comfortable to hand over your credentials.
Okay, so Jim, knowing that we are being targeted as individuals on our mobile devices, which are a combination of our personal device and a work environment, but is mobile security different from like traditional laptop security?
Very different security, but the best answer to that question begins with, why aren't we securing mobile devices in the same way that we've been securing laptops and desktops since the advent of the personal computer in the mid-90s? And the industry behind endpoint security began in the mid-90s with Windows computers and extended into Mac computers. Over the past 20-25 years, there have been multiple generations of technologies. It's grown into over a $10 billion annual business, and it dwarfs what investment that is happening in mobile today. We're just beginning to realize and come to the realization that these devices that we have in our pockets can access the same corporate resources that we access with our laptops and our desktops. And therefore they present the same risk. And if they present the same risk, then why aren't we focusing on securing them as we have for 25 years been securing endpoints, both Windows and Mac laptops and desktops? And so we're beginning to come to that realization that because these devices access all the same resources, particularly from a business perspective, then they too deserve to be, and it's necessary to secure them in very much the same way.
So Jim, we've covered a lot of ground today. If I bring this back, if I'm a small business, right, practically, what are the things I should do when I think about securing my people and my mobile devices?
Yeah, I think it comes down to three different categories. The first of which is awareness and training. We have been conditioned on our laptops and our desktops, particularly with email, to be careful before we click on a link that we may get in an email. We've been conditioned over the years because we know that email is dangerous when it comes to things like phishing. And so we're very diligent. We look at who the sender was. We avoid anything that we don't understand. And we have to have the same kind of behavior when it comes to a text message, a WhatsApp message, or even an email on a mobile phone versus an email that we would be reading off of a desktop. So awareness, training, and focus on the response that you're given, rather than making that very quick response that we tend to do with our mobile phones. Very different than the way we interact and interface with a laptop. That's number one. Number two, make sure that your phones are always updated. All the apps are updated, and even your operating systems are updated. It's very easy to do with iOS because iOS forces that update. But you have to be more diligent if you have an Android device, because there are so many permutations and combinations of Android operating system. You have to proactively make sure you always have the latest patches and the latest updates. And finally, find a solution, Lookout happens to be one of them, that is proactively monitoring for these kinds of attacks, both device-related attacks and human factor attacks, and can warn you when such an attack is happening.
So if I think about that, is be aware, be alive to the threat, know how you respond as a person, don't click on the link. Second one is just keep your devices up to date, right? And the third maybe is phone a friend. Have somebody who can help you monitor and proactively look at your device. I mean, it feels a little bit like I should just keep my phone turned off forever and then I won't get attacked. But I don't think that's an option. That's not an option for me. That's not an option for our customers. Exactly. Jim, thank you so much today for your time and your insight. It's been wonderful. I think we all now know a lot more about mobile threats. And thank you all for tuning in, for listening. I know we're coming up with a lot more content during Security Awareness Month. And thank you.